Well, hey everybody, I'm Sam. I'm a pastor. I've been a pastor for 20 plus years, biblical studies student, Bible teacher. My training involves biblical studies, theology, biblical languages, church history, an assortment of things. And so I said in my short, about a month ago, that I was going to review this. This is the Alexander Maclaren Study Bible that came out a little while ago. And I have been actually utilizing this for about a month now. And it's interesting. So, quick little thing. Alexander Maclaren was a pastor a couple hundred years ago or so. It's said that he is the, what do they call him? It's right here in he was the Prince of Expositors. And so he was the pastor over in Manchester, England of Union Chapel from 1858 to 1903. So Baptist pastor, and he has a lot of different sermons that they've kept. And so what they've done is they've taken all of those sermons and they've kind of interjected them into a study Bible. Now, I think I said this on my short, but this is not a study Bible like your normal study Bible. So normally study Bibles will have maps, they'll have all kinds of scholarly notes in it, introductions to the books that are like 3, 4, 5 pages long, all that kind of stuff. What this is more like a devotional kind of Bible with devotional thoughts from sermons put into it. And so if you're looking for, deep scholarly level kind of insights into what's going on, all that kind of stuff, that's not going to be in here. You're going to have more devotional, spiritual insights, pastoral kind of things. That's what is more likely going on here. So I'm going to actually use my other camera. I want to show you a few things about this, from the aesthetics to what the page layout looks like. I really enjoyed the typography and all of this kind of stuff in here. That it just really is nice, and it's hefty. It's like not cheaply made, so that's good. It's not the leather bound. This is the hardcover. So they do make this in a leather bound one or like a fake leather bound one, but this is just the hardcover. But it's nicely made. So anyway, I'm going to go to my other camera, show you a few things, and then I'll be back to give you my last impressions and thoughts. All right. All right. So hopefully the shadows aren't too bad. So the video here makes it look like it's really blue. It's not really, it's more of like a teal kind of a color. So for what that's worth. Okay. So when you open it up, you're going to see right off the bat, there's one issue that I have with this study Bible, and that's that some of the pages ghost pretty bad. And you can see it kind of bleeding through right there, like when you have these little boxes in here. But here's a good indication of what's going on in this quote-unquote study Bible. So it has a lot of footnotes in it, but the footnotes are like sermon notes. And kind of they've pulled sections of his sermons out that have to do with the passage that's here, and you can kind of see like how it almost sounds like someone is preaching. So that's I think that's the point of this. Or it's like if I were to take Alexander Maclaren's own personal Bible and the notes that he's written in the margins. That's what this feels like. This feels like notes that he's maybe written in the margins about how he would teach some of these texts. These life applications are more like, okay, so this is the verse here, but look like this one, Genesis 3:6. He says, so it is still weaken the awe-inspiring sense of God's command and of the ruin that follows the breach of it. And the heart of man is like a city without walls, into which an enemy can march unhindered. So it's very, very like devotional, very sermonized. There's even Christ connections back here in Genesis in the Old Testament, and of course Genesis 3:15. They're gonna put as a Christ connection. He will strike your heel, you'll crush his head, and all that kind of stuff. That's very Christianized reading of that verse. Just that kind of stuff. And then there's these little like sermon note kind of things in here. So that's really what's going on in here. The type is comfortable to read for sure. I really love the the regular print with the blue highlighting. That's really nice. My other NKJV, this is the New King James Version, by the way. My other NKJV has red face type, so that's kind of a different thing. The ribbons are nice. They are the thicker ribbons, not the thin ones. The paper's comfortable. It is thin, like I said, so there is some bleed through going through. But here's a good example of the intro to the book. Quickly about the author here, and then time. They do a dating of it, key verses in here, the theme of it. But then that's it, and then jump right to the text. So see what I mean? Like, normally you would have like 3 or 4 pages that have a lot more information in here than just this. So there's that. Towards the end of the Bible, let's go all the way to the back, you're going to have a pretty extensive concordance here. So you get through Revelation, here's the last page, and then you're going to go right into the bibliography that is used here with all of his notes and stuff in it. And then you have this index of features, kind of like a concordance, and that just kind of goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And at the very end, after you get through all of this, what you have, if I can get there without ripping a page, there's quite a bit of this. Then there's maps. Now, in the front of the Bible, let's go all the way to the front. I'm going to pass it on accident. You have an introduction to who Alexander Maclaren is and his life, and then it just jumps right in. There's not a lot of like essays and that kind of stuff in here. It's just the biblical text and his notes from his sermons interjected in there. So, yeah. And so that's a good look at the Alexander Maclaren study Bible. All right. Well, there you have it. Also on the back, it says that there are 8 essays addressing major doctrines and faithful living. I could not find those. Maybe they're tucked away inside different books. I'm not sure, but I could not find them in this over the month that I've been looking through it. So if you know where they're at, I'd love to, if you could point them out in the comments, that way I can find them and I can read over them. But my initial impressions are a couple things. Number one, it was kind of cool, just kind of thinking through, this is another pastor and his notes. And so it's kind of like reading another pastor's Bible. It's kind of a cool thing from pastor to pastor. My second impression was, after doing a little more historical diving into who Alexander Maclaren was as a Baptist preacher, I probably wouldn't line up 100% with him theologically, but he did not allow, or maybe whoever edited this did not put a lot of that kind of stuff into this Bible. It's more accessible for people who are on a wide spectrum of, Calvinism versus Arminianism, Baptist versus, Methodism, all that kind of stuff. So that's more of what I would have hoped to expect, and not to be so pigeonholed. So I think that's great that they did that. I'm not a huge fan of the New King James. I think it's okay. It's fine. It's just not my go-to. And so it's kind of weird to go back into that world. When I grew up in King James, and then I went to New King James, then I went away from it. So to go back into that world is kind of feels like, it's familiar but weird. So here's the deal. If you are looking for a New King James Bible that you want some of these devotional kind of notes that you're going to read for devotional purposes, and you want to have that, your spiritual life enhanced, this is a very good Bible for that. This is not going to give you the study notes that you are going to hope if you want to work on something a little more academic, or you're going to work on something that's like deeper dive into a topic, that kind of thing. That's just not it. You can go with the NIV Study Bible, the New Oxford Annotated Study Bible, SBL Study Bible, the Westminster Study Bible, which I'm going to show you at some point. those are going to give you way more of those kind of study notes than this would. This is more devotional in nature. All right. Well, hopefully that was helpful to you. And if that's something you're looking for, I hope that you love it if you get it. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.